Welcome to Parent Coaches Unleashed, the podcast where we dive into the highs, lows, and did that really just happen moment of parenting teens and young adults. We're Carrie and Jessica, parent coaches, mythbusters, and occasional referees in the battle of hormones versus common sense.
If you've ever wondered, is this just happening to me? You're not alone. We're here to help you with real talk, expert advice, and hopefully a few laughs along the way. Need more support? We also offer private coaching, workshops, and speaking engagements because sometimes even parents don't have all the answers.
So continue listening as we tackle this parenting journey together.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of Parent Coaches Unleashed. Hi, Carrie.
Hi, Jessica. I'm excited about today as we might be switching roles a little bit, but
Yeah, we are switching it up. For today's episode, I will be Carrie's guest. So
oh,
Carrie will be my interviewer and I will be the interviewee. So let's just start.
all right,
What do
let's
you
get
have for me?
into it. Okay, so as we get to the end of the school year, as we're in April at this point in time, you're getting ready for your third and your youngest to go off to college.
Yes.
So he's already accepted. He's going in the summer term.
Yep.
So it is creeping up and probably moving really fast. And I'm sure you're trying to apply the brakes as hard as you can.
So between you and me, I went up to, well, and everyone else who's listening, I went into his room the other day and I said, "Can you just do me a favor? When I drop you off, can you just throw your arms around me and cry like you used to do when you were in preschool?"
Aw. All right.
Uh,
So my first question, because I have many, is did you do anything different this time around? As he's your third, you have two olders that one already graduated from undergrad, one still in undergrad.
yep.
So this time, did you do anything different?
So in terms of the process of college, no. But I will say that I truly believe that every child leaving felt different. So with when Avery left, it's your first going to college and you have to get used to going from a family of 5 at the dinner table to a family of 4 at the dinner table. And there was, is she going to be okay? And holding your breath until you got the first phone call, knowing that she was okay. Um, when Cody left, it felt different, but it felt different for me the most for Jackson because Cody and Jackson had such a close relationship.
Mm,
I was most concerned that he was becoming an only child, so to speak, in the house and how things were going to look different for him.
okay.
So this time around, I really feel like it's all about me. I cannot stop thinking about how quiet the house is going to be. How do I cook for 2 people? So when you asked, have I done anything different in the process? No, but it every time has felt different. And this
Different.
one feels like I almost feel my heart hurting a little bit, just the emotional standpoint. And that's solely on me. He's super
Yeah.
excited. He's ready. But just from my perspective, it just hits differently.
Yeah, because a transition is going to happen for you and Lonnie at home,
Sure.
where for the past 22 years, it's been all focused on the kids and
Yeah.
usually centralized, focus on their activities and them. And now it gets different that you have to just prioritize yourself. But I will say Lonnie probably will be pretty excited about the dinner thing because you could still cook for 3 or 4, and this way you would have plenty of leftovers and
Leftovers.
you wouldn't have to do it every night. So,
Well, that
I
is
don't know if
definitely an
I would
interesting perspective
change
for sure.
that because,
Yes.
but anyway, you'll have more freedom and flexibility. Maybe you won't have to feel like you have to cook every night? Like, do you
Yeah.
enjoy
You know,
cooking or
well, I love that part of it, and it's so funny because I don't know if you remember this, but when you and I first met, and for those of you who don't know, and we're totally off topic here, but when Carrie and I first met, we went on a, trip to Israel, a mom's trip, and, you took turns every day sitting on the bus next to somebody else. And I remember when it was our turn to sit next to each other, this was one of the conversations we had because you were newly into the empty nesting phase.
Mhm.
And I said to you, "What are dinners like?"
And what did
And
I say?
and
Don't even
you
remember.
said, you know, you said, "I just don't understand why it still falls on me." Like, Ken will come to me and say, "What are we doing for dinner
Yeah,
tonight?" And
yeah,
why is it still my responsibility
yeah,
when it's only the 2 of us in the house?
yeah, yeah. I
So,
know, I
that
think sometimes you just accept what it is,
yeah.
or if it bothers you that much, now I'm giving advice to myself, right, is you talk about it and change it, why
Right.
should I have been complaining to you? I should have just done something about it, but
I think it might be easier to help cut back on the carbs once Jax is out of the house. I'm
well,
looking
yes,
forward
you
to
were
that.
feeding an athlete, so
Yes,
that did definitely affect as
the
even
way
though
we
you
eat.
and Lonnie are in good shape, you're not feeding athletes, it's a
Right,
whole different
right.
thing. Well, but your grocery bill will definitely be
So, I feel
impacted,
like
and that'll be a celebration.
yes, our grocery bill at home will go down, but then we have the added expense of Avery's going back to grad school.
Yeah,
We'll have 3 kids in school now again, and what those bills might look
yeah,
like might make up for what we're saving on grocery bills,
yeah,
so
got it. Alright, well, I'm glad you brought that up, that all 3 of your kids will be at the same college next year, because
isn't that crazy?
that I mean, that's really exciting. It's
So
really
exciting. Yes.
exciting, but I do have 1 question, actually 2 questions about this. So, does it ease your mind at all knowing they will all 3 be in the same town, going to the same school, even though, for different programs and living in different places, but does it ease your mind that when Jackson starts school or goes to school his first year, both his brother and sister will be there? Does it give you any different level of comfort?
I mean, absolutely 100%, yes. Yeah. I mean, to know that all
Mhm.
your siblings are with you, I mean, obviously not in the day to day, but for anything you need, they're there. They'll be there together. And we have told them, a monthly dinner, a monthly sibling dinner on us, although I'm
Okay.
sure, like, all the meals will be on us anyway, yeah, I think they're excited too. I think they're excited to all be there experiencing it together.
Now, do you think that monthly dinner is to encourage them and have a carrot there so that that they will get together
Yeah,
once a month,
that's def
or
so, yes, that is our intent. I think as a mom, I also wanna say that they would want to have
Mhm.
dinner together and spend that time together, and I just want my kids to enjoy each other's
Yeah.
company, and I really, truly believe they do. Even though they have varied interests and stuff, I still believe that they all share, like, common values, common bonds. I like to believe that they enjoy each other's company enough that they will seek each other out to get together for a meal.
Um, have you thought about, and I don't want to put this out there and make it a thing if it's not, but have you thought about how you will feel? Again, here I am in the future. I should just stay in the present, but if Jackson needs something, if he is reaching out to Cody or Avery before you and Lonnie, how do you view that? And do
It's
you
so
think
funny
that
because
that's how it'll go?
I think Lonnie and I would have 2 different responses to this,
Okay.
but for me so Lonnie's already asking, "Do we even have to go up in fall to drop him off? Can't Cody just take him?" Which in theory, he probably could, but how can I send him off to school? All these families will be there, everybody's saying goodbye. I mean, I feel like it's a rite of passage to bring your
What it
child
what
to
does
college.
Jackson want? Do we know what
We
Jackson
didn't
wants?
even it was
Okay,
that part was not even a
got
conversation.
it. Okay,
And I feel like he would say he would want us to bring him. I
okay.
mean, his roommate's parents will be there, although his roommate has a sibling at the school too, so it'll be interesting, but, um, I just completely forgot.
Um, okay, so
Oh, if he
Lonnie
goes
was
to
the
someone
big
else
one.
instead of
Yeah.
us. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
How will you feel about
So,
it?
I think that happens now without them even being together at school. If
Okay,
there's something that comes up for Jackson, he might go to his siblings. I know they have a separate sibling chat, so he
okay.
might ask his siblings a question before he asks us,
Yeah,
or he might not even ask us. He might just ask his brother and sister.
got it. And, you
And
know
I
what, he's
I
not living in your house, so you wouldn't actually know,
right, right.
where now
And
you know if he
there
goes to
might
them.
there might be things that Cody, as being a boy at the same school, might be able to answer things
Mhm.
better than I can. You know, maybe questions about fraternity life, rushing or pledging or stuff like that. I
Yeah,
not I wouldn't be able to answer those questions. So I I would be perfectly fine with him going to his siblings first and probably encourage it in some instances.
okay. Right. Alright, so I know right now you're just enjoying, is prom happened already or no, that's upcoming?
No, it's happening soon, couple
Okay,
weeks.
so you have prom, you'll have graduation,
Yep.
you have the shopping for the dorm and that whole move in. But have you spent any time thinking about what you're most looking forward to as an empty nester and what you most fear about this next phase that's coming?
I'm looking forward to traveling, not having to be on a set schedule,
Mhm.
although we do have the 2 dogs still at home, and sometimes I feel like they're a lot more work than the kids.
Yeah.
Um, so but as I'm just looking forward to being able to travel and be on our schedule as opposed to being on
Mhm.
their schedule. I think what I'm not looking forward to is the sounds of the house, the quiet. I
Yeah.
just as you said, 22 years we've been doing this, almost 23 years. Our kids have been the center of our home.
Mhm.
And then with the last one leaving, that all shifts.
Yeah.
So the quiet is what I'm not looking forward to. And I'm looking forward to holidays when they all will be
Yeah,
on the same
it'll
schedule
be
and they all
really
come home
loud.
together.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
And
for
that's a
sure.
good one. You will not be driving up and back for holiday and end of breaks because they now have each other
Yep,
to get home together.
yep,
So
absolutely.
that's
That's
a
huge.
that is a definite benefit.
Yes, for sure.
So to occupy yourself, have you taken on any new hobbies? Is there anything new that you're planning to
Well,
do in your newfound free time?
it's interesting, but, this is something that's been coming up a lot in our discussions about parents needing to have, their own interests, so they're not turning to their
Mhm.
kids to fulfill their time, and definitely more focused on the podcast and things we have upcoming. I've started strength training, so I'm really excited about really continuing with that. Yeah, and then some of the usual stuff and
Yeah,
my
some of the
reading and
spontaneous
mahjong
yeah,
and I'm sorry?
the spontaneous stuff that could, find its way to you and you can actually say yes because
Yes.
you don't
Mhm.
have to be like, "Well, I have to check Jackson's schedule and
Right,
Cody's
football was
schedule
the
and
yeah.
Avery,"
Mhm.
and all
Yep,
that. That's definitely,
for
um
sure.
how do you think the dogs will handle the
Um,
quietness in the house, and will they know it will you know that they're
um,
missing
uh,
the activity level
you
or
know, I think they will. No, but it's just Jackson here right now,
Yeah.
but he definitely spends a lot of time with them. Um, And there is nothing better than those reunion videos when the kids walk through the doors and the
Mhm.
dogs greet them. Those are my favorite, but, I think they'll be fine. They adjust to whoever's here or not here.
Who's gonna take over Jimmy's Instagram account or TikTok or whatever he has?
I think Jackson will keep that up. We'll just have to keep sending him
Video?
material.
The cutest thing I find, and I know some parents are like, "You're not calling for me, you're calling to see the dog," but I
Oh,
actually
yes. Mhm.
love when they wanna FaceTime
Yep,
to see the dogs, or in my
absolutely. We
case, dog, your dogs, right? And it doesn't hurt my feelings at all, like, that they're not really looking to see me, they wanna
right.
see the dog. I
That's,
find it so heartwarming.
that's a big text in our family group chat.
Mhm.
Dog pics, please. That's a big one.
Yeah,
They wanna see
yeah.
what they're up to, and, I mean, they're their family too, and, Lonnie and I get to be home with them all day, and when you grow up with a dog,
It's a family
it's their
member,
family
probably
member.
a
Yes,
member.
it's their furry sibling.
So, do you think Jackson will be more of a texter, phone call, or FaceTime? Like, what will do you think his preference will be, or what you'll get more of
What
once
do
he
I
leaves?
think? If I knowing Jackson, I would have to say texting.
Okay.
I don't care what kind of communication it is, I just hope there is some. It's funny, what you started off by asking, "Did we do anything different?" And I gave you my feelings emotionally on that, but what it is interesting this time around is I feel like we had certain conversations that have kind of evolved, or you don't have to have them at all. Like, for example, with Avery, I just expected to speak to her regularly because I don't know if it's different with a daughter versus a son, but that was my
Mhm.
expectation that we would speak regularly, and we do. Um, and then when Cody was leaving, we had the conversation, "What do you think is a fair amount of time for me to expect to hear from you?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna call every day." Okay, great. Has not happened. He does not call every day at all. Like, we probably speak on the phone 2 times a week, maybe 3 times a week
Okay.
on a good week, but we do text throughout the day, at different intervals, but, um, I'm not even having that conversation with Jackson. I know if he needs me, he'll call. He knows I'm always here, and
Yeah.
that's something that's different that I guess
And
is
why did you decide to do something differently on this subject with him?
only because I realize that if they need me, they'll call me. If they
Yeah.
wanna talk to me, they'll call me. If they miss me, they'll call me. If I miss them, I could just send them a text saying, "Hey, do not feel like you have to talk. I just wanted to let you know I was thinking about you. I love you, miss you, whenever we can catch up, that would be great." That I guess that part has evolved a little bit,
Yeah.
it doesn't I know I believe that if they wanna talk to me, they'll call me and
Mhm.
vice versa.
Alright.
So
And is there anything that you did in the process differently in terms of helping make their decision, what school they said yes to, roommates,
so
anything like that?
the school, no, there was nothing really different. It's obviously his choice from the beginning where he wanted to go. The roommate thing was a little different this time. We had always said that we believed it was a good idea to room with someone you didn't know. Um, Avery did that, and she had all sorts of complications, like, her roommate had a boyfriend at another school, so she was never really there.
So she
So
was alone, yeah.
so she was alone a lot, but she had suite mates, and one of those suite mates at one point, the RA had to get involved and call 911.
Mm,
So, like, there are definitely disadvantages to not knowing who you're getting. Um, Cody roomed with someone that I went to high school with, their son.
okay.
He did not know him, and it was a good fit, just they ended up living, I guess, separate lives, but they were still friendly. They ended up I think this plays a part in it. When you become roommates, they were pledging different fraternities.
Mhm. Yeah.
What eventually happened is ended up staying with their pledge class, and that was who they,
Yeah.
I guess,
But
morphed
that's a
into.
good
Yeah, but they
like,
were
a
still respectful,
outcome,
good
right.
roommates. Yes, all
Just
that.
have a good,
Yes,
solid roommate, doesn't have to be your best friend.
right. With Jackson, we told him the same thing we told the others, that we think it's better, you know, you bring different friends into the group, you get to meet more people, there's more exposure. Um, and he started out with that mindset. He ended up rooming with someone that he is friends with, that he does know from high
Mhm,
school. He did try on different people. He just felt that he knew what he was getting with his friend, and
mhm.
it wasn't his best friend, and, he just felt at the time that it was the best decision
Yeah,
for him, and we supported him.
yeah.
It is funny though, because Jackson, out of my 3, he takes forever to make a decision.
Mm.
So even after he made this decision, he's second guessing himself. I hope this was the right decision." And it's like, "Doesn't matter. It's the decision you made, and you'll figure it out."
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I think it's a good choice. I ended up, rooming my freshman year in the dorm with someone I went to high school that was a friend, kind of
mhm.
similar to this, but not one of my best friends and not
Right, right, right.
really in my immediate circle, and she, to this day, is my best friend in the world. So,
I love that. I hope that
it
happens for them.
yeah, it could work out. I'm sure it
Did you
will.
pledge a sorority together?
We did, but it wasn't planned that way. Like, we said we were gonna have our own experiences, and we went through Rush. Our experiences were a little different during Rush,
Okay.
but interesting enough, we ended up with the final 2 sororities at we called it Pref Night. I don't know what they call it now. So,
I think for the girls, it still is.
okay, so I knew exactly what I wanted, and she hemmed and hawed, and she really didn't know, and I didn't wanna influence her decision because I was like, "You choose where you best fit, I know," and she's like, "Well, how do you know, so confidently?" And it turned out she did end up preferring pref bleh,
Preferences or
selecting
selection?
the
Okay.
same top choice that I did, and so we did get into the same sorority,
Okay.
which was amazing, but we did not set out for
That
that to
wasn't
be
wasn't
the
your main
goal,
path. Right.
um, but it was a little bit more difficult for her to make that final choice where
Okay.
I found it kind of easy, but
Do you think that that played a role in the strength of your friendship because you went through the
absolutely, yes. Yeah, I
Right.
think if we would have selected 2 different sororities, I think she probably would have had better friends there, and I would have had better friends.
Yeah.
We ended up moving into the sorority house for 2 years, and then we moved back out.
That's one thing I'm very curious to see where Jackson ends up. I wonder, because Cody is in a fraternity, so I
Mhm.
wonder if he will end up in the same fraternity. I'm
Yeah.
curious to see how that plays out. I
Would
will
you
say
be
though,
surprised if he decided not to rush or not to go in a fraternity?
he definitely wants to rush.
Okay.
So, I would be surprised if he said if that
If he
didn't
changes
go the
mind.
way he
Yep.
wanted, or, but, it will be interesting to see if he selects the same
Yes.
fraternity that Cody is in. So, Jackson is a creature of habit. He likes what is comfortable, and
Mm.
he knows so many of the boys that are already
Yeah.
in the fraternity through Cody. Now, Cody's gonna be a senior. All of
Yeah.
his friends will be seniors. I think it's a lot from what I gather, the involvement of seniors in the
Mhm.
fraternity is a lot different than the lower classmen in the fraternity, so I don't really even know if that would impact Jackson's decision or not, but, it will be interesting to see which way he goes.
Yeah.
You know
So
what else
many
is
exciting
interesting?
things ahead. Yes. What?
The, um, the majors. They're all different majors.
All 3 of
So
your children.
yes, they're
Yes.
all 3 different majors.
Uh-huh.
So, Avery was theater, Cody engineering, and Jackson will be in the business school. So that part is, I almost wish that he was following in Cody's paths just so that he would have him to guide him.
Yeah.
That if you gave if I had to pick one concern for Jackson going to school, because I do believe he's walking into the best case scenario.
Mhm.
Comfortable where he is, knowing his brother's there, knowing his sister's there, you know, he has friends there. The major and the course load.
Yeah.
I guess that would be my strongest area of concern for him, figuring out his way
Yeah.
through the major, but I can't help him. You know,
Mm-mm.
he's gotta, this is where we say it's time for them to figure it out for themselves, and
Yeah.
we can only give him
Well, have him
advice and
follow,
support.
Harlan Cohen, who
Yes, they all they do.
gives they should right? He gives some really good advice on what to do when you're new to college,
Yeah,
right? Talk to the professor, introduce yourself,
join
join lots of
clubs. Mhm.
clubs, all the like, be very well-rounded.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's better when it comes from someone else and it's not their parents.
Yes,
Because I'm
100%.
sure you've said it a million times, like, all the different suggestions, how to best adjust to going to
Yep.
college, and I think this is a good time
Yeah.
to plug something that we are working on. So,
Absolutely, let's go for it.
go ahead, Jess. Tell us
So,
what's up.
Carrie and I are in the process of developing our first webinar that is actually geared towards this very topic of, is your child ready for college? And it's not from the standpoint of academics, because they're going on to college. And we all know that college is not the only path after high school, but our webinar is geared specifically to the parents of the kids who are going to college, whose
Mhm,
choice that was.
mhm,
So our webinar will cover the independence. Are they ready for that step of living alone and taking that first big step towards becoming an adult?
yes, and lots of tips in there for parents of teens, so let's say high school age parents, or parents who have high schoolers. It will give tips on what to start to not do for your teen anymore.
Right.
How to transition from being fully involved to letting them now take the reins and do things themselves
Yes.
while they're at home, while they're in high school. So by the time they're living on their own and no longer in your home, they are fully ready and you're not guessing whether they are or not. So stay tuned.
Yep.
We will put out more information when it is available and we will plug it on our podcast. You will stay tuned to social media. Always follow us on Parent Coaches Unleashed on Instagram and TikTok, and we will let you know when it's available.
Yeah. Very excited for that one. That one's going to be taking up a lot of my time, Carrie, when you ask
Yes,
what
there
I'll
you
be
go.
doing.
There you go.
So,
That's what you're working on.
really excited for that one.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Jessica, for being my guest today
Oh, thank you for having me,
and for
Carrie.
being so open and honest with all of us. I am sure there are other parents out there listening who are sitting in your shoes right now. Their last is going to college, maybe their first is going to
Yep.
college, and how to handle that. So, thank you for all of your tips.
Absolutely. I just want to interject one more thing here. The biggest difference, I think, between first timers and last
Last
timers,
timers.
yeah, is the amount of stuff you bring. Like, you are able to weed out and say, we don't really need all of this. Do you will a boy really open a vacuum cleaner in their home, in their dorm room? Stuff you really need to think about.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. And thank you to all of our listeners. And again, follow us on Instagram, Parent Coaches Unleashed. And as always, please send us an email if you have questions, suggestions. The email address is info@parentcoachesunleashed.com. and share this episode with a friend. Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Jess. Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you for listening to this episode of Parent Coaches Unleashed with Carrie and Jessica. Together, we can raise the next generation of independent, capable, and compassionate young adults.
We encourage you to send us an email with questions and feedback to info@parentcoachesunleashed.com. Please remember, you are not alone on this parenting journey.